What's up, everybody? Nate here from Out of the Basement, bringing you a brand new action figure review. Today from Diamond Select, we're taking a look at the Lord of the Rings Wave 1 Build-A-Figure. This is, of course, the Dark Lord Sauron. Previously on the channel, I did take a look at the very first wave of figures. That was Gimli and Legolas. Since then, there have been 2 more waves, so for a total of 6 figures, all including various pieces of Sauron. Here is the end result, built right before our eyes here, and just looks so absolutely epic. You could just see the scale here. 13-inch action figure from Diamond Select. So much wonderful sculpt work going on here with the figure itself. A cloth goods cape. There is a lot to love here, and we're going to discuss all of that right about now. Let's dive in. Starting out here, this was the first wave, Legolas and Gimli. 2 pretty good figures. I think Gimli is one of the standouts of the line so far. The Legolas figure, though, definitely left some things to be desired. And then I had a huge gap in when I got Wave 2. I was pretty late to the party on it, so that's why I didn't end up doing a review of it. But those 2 figures are Frodo and the Nazgul. A mixed bag between these 2. I think Frodo's likeness is pretty decent to Elijah Wood, however has some really limited articulation and doesn't really come with a whole lot of accessories. You get Sting and you get the light source, which name escapes me at the moment. And the Nazgul, I have to say, I kind of really don't like this figure. You can see they went with a hard plastic for the robe here. So when you stick the arm out straight forward, you know, to do anything menacing like this, you have this obnoxious giant piece of plastic right in the way. And it makes holding the sword here incredibly difficult as well. But when the Nazgul is just standing still like this, you know, it looks pretty good. And then finally, the last wave of figures here, which I really got these back to back. We have the Moria Orc, which I definitely think is the best figure in the line. Tons of articulation, double elbows, double knees, great details here. Comes with an alternate head and weapon, so you could do 2 looks for the Moria Orc. Easily my number 1 of Wave 1. And lastly here we've got Aragorn, which is not a great figure either. You can see that likeness is not there. I definitely think if there is one complaint about Aragorn is that the likeness just is nowhere near Viggo Mortensen. You can kind of see it, but otherwise, yeah, it's kind of just, I'm not feeling it. But from the neck down, we've got double elbows, double knees, some really nice articulation on this Aragorn, and sculpted details too. You get both swords, and you've got the sheath for the one. The dagger also unsheaths here. So really, so far, I've got to say Wave 1 is just kind of a mixed bag of figures. I think we're off to a good start with the line here, but yeah. Some figures have decent likeness, poor articulation. Others have poor likeness, but decent articulation. And other figures are just straight bangers like the Moria Orc, and I would even say Gimli. Those 2 are easily my favorite out of the line, besides Sauron. So let's jump back into that figure. And we'll start out here taking a look at the one and only accessory. We get his epic mace, which mine was definitely bent in the package. You get this with the Moria Orc, and I'm sure some heat and a little bit of pressure here will straighten it right out. But you can see there is some really fantastic sculpt work going on here on this weapon, along with some nice silver dry brushing throughout to give it a little bit more of a realistic detail. Of course, Diamond Select always kills the paint and the sculpt on their figures. I think no one really denies that, unless of course we're talking about a human face. But yeah, the mace here absolutely delivers, fits right snug in his hand. You can see that demonstrated right here. Look at how awesome this figure is, even going out of frame, out of my poor review set, just to get the mace in the shot. But what an epic looking figure here. So let's not waste a whole lot more time, and let's just take a look at those details up close and personal. So like I was saying, Sauron is 13 inches tall. Absolutely a massive Build-A-Figure here. Pretty much the perfect Build-A-Figure, I think, to start out the Lord of the Rings line with. But just look at how amazingly detailed the figure is. If we zoom in a little bit, you could definitely see the amazing sculpt work done by Diamond Select here for this helmet. There's really not a whole lot of paint going on this figure. It's mostly just a silver dry brushing, but of course, that is exactly what we expect out of this character design. There really isn't a whole lot in terms of paint variation on Sauron, and Diamond Select just absolutely delivered. The armor here is painstakingly detailed and has a nice silver dry brushing on it to really make all those textured details pop throughout the figure. You could definitely see we've got the alternate hand with the one ring on it. It is not removable. I know some people were saying the old Toy Biz figure you could remove the finger. Not on this one, unfortunately, but I think that's really a minor knock when you just see how epic this thing is from head to toe. If there was one thing I would complain about here, it's that the feet are not flat, and so it is a mild challenge getting him to stand up, but it's really not too bad. You just kind of got to mess around with him a little bit. And taking a look at the back of the figure here, you can see that you get this epic cloth goods cape. It's got multiple layers of stitching on it. It's very long, goes all the way down to the feet. Of course, you know, if it would have had a wire in it, that would have been even better, but I really was not expecting one. And quickly, the only real difficulty in assembling Sauron comes from the cape here. It's kind of not illustrated well how it sits on there, but this back piece of armor just comes off. You see the slot there. And so it just kind of pegs in like that. Super simple, and it's nice and snug. So yeah, I gotta say Diamond Select absolutely nailed how Sauron looks. Totally badass. Love the height on him. Of course, I'll show you some comparisons later in the video. But yeah, those details here are just off the charts. I'm loving this Build-A-Figure. So the details here are fantastic. They're absolutely A1, which we've come to expect from Diamond Select. But now we'll take a look at the articulation of the figure, which usually is where Diamond Select struggles just a little bit here. I'm pretty happy to say that the articulation on this guy really isn't all too bad. So let's just take a quick look here. And we'll start with the head range, which if you want to look up, Sauron doesn't really look up all that much. He can look down a decent amount though, which I feel like is more important than him looking up, because he definitely does a lot more looking down than anything. It rotates around here and knock the shoulder pad off, but you can get it to twist all the way around. And as far as a tilt, you do get plenty side to side there. So still pretty decent head range, although you can't really look up. As far as the shoulders go, they can go up very far, but you have to kind of pop the shoulder pads here up just a little bit. They just kind of clip on there, and you'll notice when you pose them around, they like to fall off quite a bit, but they just pop right back on. So full range of motion here, and you can't really get the arm to rotate without the shoulder pad falling off, but it does rotate all the way around, no problem. Just pop that shoulder pad back on. As far as the arm goes, you do get a single jointed elbow that doesn't give you very much range of motion at all. You do get swivel at the elbow though, and for the reaching out ring hand, you can rotate it around, and he does have a horizontal hinge there. And just take a look at that really nice silver paint on the inside of that hand. Love the way that that looks. So the elbows are definitely limited here. You can see that, yeah, you're not getting anywhere near 90 degrees out of it. And for the gripping hand, we do actually see that it does have the vertical hinge here, which is very important when it comes to weapon wielding, although mine seems to be completely frozen. And as far as the crunch is concerned, you actually do get a pretty decent range here forward. And then going back, you also get a decent amount there as well. Of course, you do get rotation and some side to side even there. As far as the legs are concerned, this is about what you're looking at kicking out. Splits-wise, Sauron can do about that far. The kickback is pretty much non-existent. You do get a thigh cut, and the cape just came off. And then you can see here a single jointed knee gives you just about 90 degrees there. No swivel at the knee though. And moving down to the curved feet, you can see they can go down a little bit, They go up a decent amount, and he does actually have ankle pivot, although it's definitely limited by the design of the armor here. So overall, Sauron's articulation really isn't that bad. It's definitely limited, could definitely be better, but this is a Diamond Select product, so we pretty much know what to expect when it comes to the articulation here. But Sauron is also a big, bulky badass, so really I don't know how dynamic you really even need to pose a figure like this. I mean, he just looks badass pretty much just standing here. So I'd say the details outweigh the articulation here, and it's still a fantastic piece, even if it does have some limited articulation. But now let's go ahead and get a sense of scale here. Like I've said a couple times in the video, this is a 13-inch action figure. So we're going to show off the scale with all the other Diamond Select Lord of the Rings figures, and then of course just some random stuff I've got lying around here. Alright, and first up, take a look at Legolas and Gimli down there. Absolutely tiny in comparison. It gets even more hilarious once we jump into the Nazgul and Frodo there, who you could just barely see down there. And lastly, the final wave here, Aragorn and the Moria Orc, which if you can't tell by now, Sauron just absolutely dwarfs every single figure here. And here's some other Diamond Select figures just to be fun. We've got Boba Fett and Darth Maul. And moving on to some odds and ends, we've got a NECA Victor Crowley here from the 8-inch cloth line, and then we also have Angela from Marvel Legends. And of course, it would not be an Out of the Basement review if we didn't include the SH Figuarts Tank Pilot and the Mafex First Order Stormtrooper. So there you have it, folks. There was my review for the Diamond Select Sauron Build-A-Figure, an absolutely epic piece that I literally cannot even fit into frame with my background, but I'm going handheld here just to show you the amazing details present in this figure. Yeah, it definitely sucks that it is a Build-A-Figure, and the Wave 1 Lord of the Rings figures aren't the greatest, but I think the end result was more than worth it. And hey, I think there's just always room for improvement when it comes to figures, so I'm sure Wave 2 of Lord of the Rings will probably see some better stuff going on here, but I'd say the line so far is worth it. This Sauron Build-A-Figure, the Moria Orc, and Gimli are easily the standouts of the line so far, with incredible paint and sculpt work here. So I'm excited for Gandalf and the Uruk-hai Orc. Can't wait to see what other figures they're going to have coming down the line here. But yeah, so far I am absolutely digging this line. But like I said, could use a few improvements, but so far I'm pretty satisfied here. And that'll do it for the review. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like on the video. Subscribe if you are new. We're always covering action figures here on the channel, mostly the Black Series, but every once in a while I like to throw a little wrench in the gear here, and Sauron was one of those figures because it is just too epic not to review. Please consider joining our channel membership for only 99 cents a month. You get some Star Wars related emojis and name badges to use in our chats on our live streams every single Sunday at 1 p.m. Central Time. Thank you to all of our channel members, and thank you to anyone out there who watches, likes, and subscribes. We appreciate each and every one of you. Of course, I'm Nate from Out of the Basement. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.